Well, most people go out clubbing and drinking with their buddies or going out on ladies' nights and all that nonsense. We practice the occult.
No, that's literally all we do.
That's what we do. Greetings. I'm Baron Aragni.
And I'm Baroness Aragni. And here we are once again with a new video for you, straight out of obscurity. So we know we haven't really made a video in some time. And, well, it's for good reason. We've been keeping busy with other things. But recently a situation presented itself to us. And usually we don't really get involved in drama like that. However, after weighing and measuring it, we thought that it's actually an excellent teachable thing that we can use. Well, in a video, of course.
Yes, so today's video is going to be titled basically the negative ego, and the event that transpired recently also relates to this very title of the video, the negative ego itself. So a while back we had a client which purchased the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, and let's just say shortly after the client purchased the book, this individual changed completely.
Well, to fill you in with a little bit more on that, we have the correspondence for this situation. So before we get into this matter, this drama, we want to make something perfectly clear. Within this video, we will be exposing this individual's identity. The reasons for why we will discuss in a moment. However, before you start getting concerned, if you're maybe a client of ours and you're like, are they going to expose my personal details like this? No, you have nothing to worry about unless you expressly go through a set of actions which relinquishes that.
Yeah, and warrant such actions from us.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
Nonetheless, all your information will be held highly confidential.
Until you do something like this person does. All of this started in June. This individual purchased the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul from us, but before that, received everything in good order, no problem. And then he, out of the blue, on the 1st of June, contacted us with, and we're reading now, by the way, you can refer to the screenshot if you want to follow along. You're either liars or insane. Nobody with any common sense, especially an experienced occultist, would follow through with instructions in Bel-El-Hul or Infernos, referring to Liber Infernos and Bernard because he purchased that as well. It's to invite total chaos and obliteration. You guys seem so formal and focused in your videos, but Bel-El-Hul betrays such a level of hatred towards humanity and life. I don't believe anything you say about helping or teaching people. The vitriol is palpable. Well, obviously, even though we are on the path of spiritual ascension and self-empowerment, when we receive messages like that and we get them from time to time, you can imagine that it's a bit annoying.
Indeed, and we did respond, and we posted this on social media as well, this post and the response to that post from us.
Our response to that individual's message was, do you know why we wrote the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul and Liber Infernos and Bernard? Because people asked for it, not just 1, 10, or 100, but many more. People even pester us for a follow-up on the Black Book, as they seek to delve even further into that path. Funny enough, though, you yourself seek those works out by your own free will and volition. Did you perhaps bite off more than you could chew? Turns out that you cannot abide within that path which you so seeked. What a surprise! Warnings were abound, within those books and without. Yet here you are, filling out a form in a tantrum. You referred to our videos. Well then, either you are just simple-minded or deaf. But if you actually paid attention, you will know that the path of darkness is long behind us, and our path is that of spiritual empowerment and ascension. In other words, that which we have presented in the Hexagrammaton series of books. We wrote those books as people desired that path, nothing more, nothing less. So feel free to choke on your own blatant ignorance and vitriol. Shows you how much you know of the LHP and even of us. The individual then responded back, but first a personal note here. Since we posted this on our personal Facebook page under Aragni Strange, we're pretty sure that person was following us and noticed that, and also saw the large amount of comments on that Facebook post of ours, basically calling this person out on his nonsense. He then backpedaled a bit, stating, I appreciate the response. Yes, Bel-El-Hul is too much. I'm not going to invoke that into my life any more than I would evoke Ebola into my life. But that you did put that in print is itself impressive. You outdid everyone, including Scover of Vox Inferni Res Satanae. You seem exceptionally intelligent. I watch the videos, but intelligence can be a weakness. I think of Hemingway. Anyway, thanks. I'm not trying to hound or criticize, just trying to figure things out. Peace. Oh, and if a previous message was a tantrum, as you say, I apologize. You don't deserve that. There was a lot of vodka involved.
Note the alcoholism reference in that post as well, because it's recurring.
Okay. Everything will make sense in a moment. All right. So it continues. We received another message from this guy, again, out of the blue yesterday. He bought, by the way, in total from us, 2 copies of the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, 1 Liber Infernus and Bernard, and 1 Book of Dead Names. Okay. So if you notice, it's all the darker works of ours. All right. I love your work, but you're all over the place. At this rate, you're dead. Stay on task. Extreme is all the fuss, right? It's hilarious until the right fool takes the dive. By that I mean it's real. Okay? Ironically, this is after we wrote a blog post on, I believe it is detachment.
Yes.
Yes, we will link that as well, where this individual also wrote some comments in response to that. We will put the screenshot. We're not going to read that now, honestly. But anyway, so this person became dreadfully offended at us. You'll see shortly. In response to that, we just said, we give you until Monday, the 6th of November, 2023 at 11 a.m. CST to apologize for the statement you have made to us. Okay? Quiet, quiet, quiet. And then all of a sudden, it's hard to apologize for drunk posts. You guys are awesome, just saying. Amazing. But don't threaten me. Lol. We all work in the sphere of Belial, and he doesn't believe a thing you say. You are so small, you overreact to minor criticism. Are you so insecure you have to make vague, flamboyant, or ridiculous threats? Hilarious. Unfortunate for you. Just stop. Walk away. I appreciate your work, but you're stepping beyond your capability. You can apologize to me and walk away. Then he also sent us an email and a message. By the way, we didn't say anything in between that. That's literally the only thing we told him. Both the message and the email he sent us was entitled, Shut Up, by the way. Shut up. Go away. I'll never buy anything from you again. Very disappointed. Don't threaten me. So this last bit of messages, as you would have noticed, was sent like one after the other without us responding anything or doing anything. Another thing we want to make clear before we get into the discussion of this is we didn't threaten this guy. His paranoia was taking over a bit there, clearly. We gave him that ultimatum of day and time of today, not to destroy him or anything so flamboyant, as he put it. No. It is this video, actually.
Well, actually, it's quite convenient because now we can use someone quite evidently as an example of the negative ego. How the person started and how the person spiraled out of control once this person became consumed by the negative ego. And hence the topic of today's video, the negative ego.
For those of you who have read our books before, especially those of the Hexagrammaton, Libidae, and so on and so forth, you would remember that we make a lot of references to the negative ego specifically. For those of you who didn't read any of those works from us yet, what is the negative ego?
Well, in some circles, the negative ego is known as the pain body. Now, this is a part of the self which is not the ego. For example, the ego is the I, the self-awareness, and God within the self is the am. So it means that I am, or the awakened God within the self. Now, the negative ego is a part of the individual, every individual in this world, living or dead, that creates pain in a person so that it can glorify itself by feeding upon that pain. The negative ego is always about the self. It's a very selfish part of the individual. For example, instant gratification, etc., and so forth and so on, is part of the foundation of the negative ego. It will draw negativity onto you, for example, through negative emotions, giving rise to those emotions, those negative emotions. And then in turn, the negative ego will feed off of that energy or emotions, which a person basically expressed and felt. That becomes the whole person's life after a while. The ego is replaced with the negative ego, and the God part of the self basically slumbers until in the end it ceases to be, because the negative ego has completely and utterly consumed it.
Some people may be a bit confused about the whole negative ego part of the self. You must understand that it is not separate from you.
No.
It's not like some entity or intelligence or force or something that is not you. It is you. It is a part of you. It is you. But if we can put it in a very simplistic way, it is the
False you.
false you.
It's not the real you who you are as an individual.
That's actually a very good
It's
way.
a glamour.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way to put it. Now, what is meant by the pain body is something which we have written about before. Everything which is negative in nature, let's just say I'm focusing on negative emotions right now. Anger, rage, sorrow, depression, jealousy, anxiety, envy, all those things, right? All those things that makes you feel negative, okay? The root of that, you can say, okay, now I'm angry about this because this person did this to me and I don't believe that I am deserving of this. No. That might be what sort of activated it for you, but that's not the cause of it. The cause is pain.
Yes, we can actually give you simple evidence right here and now about the existence of the negative ego. All negative emotions, thoughts, and feelings can be traced back from either the concept of the past or the concept of the future. Now, neither the past nor the future exists. The concept of time didn't exist prior to humanity. The concept of time is a man-made concept. It's an ideal. Now, who's behind this concept of time? The negative ego, of course. Hence the past, which doesn't exist, and the future, which doesn't exist. The negative ego makes you believe it exists. And dredges up that emotions, negative emotions from the past, manifesting in the here now, or in the future, manifesting in the here now.
As an example, you're applying for a new job. Now you start becoming worried if you're going to get it, because you know you need to get it because you need to pay bills. Sorry. You need to pay bills, you have to take care of things, life. Now you become anxious, now you become worried, and now you become almost depressed just thinking about it. But there's no outcome yet because it is in the future. You haven't even gone for the interview yet or anything like that.
The path of hexagrammaton in our path, our magnum opus, teaches you also that the only thing that exists is the here and now. The here and now is the awakening of God within the flesh, the beginning of that eternal state of God, while God is awoken within the self, the here and now. So that's a great continuum of God, the beginning of the great continuum of God.
We will take a moment now to clarify a little bit of something here for those of you who may not know us, our writings, our videos, our blog posts, and so on and so forth. You will notice that we make note of the word or term God, divinity, godhood, and so on. We make use of those terms a lot. But if you want to know more about that, we're not going to go too deep into this here. You can read our blog on our website, or preferably read the Hexagrammaton or Liber Dei, and then you'll see exactly what we mean. But know that this is from a non-right-hand path perspective, or even a left-hand path perspective, because technically there is no division between the two.
Now back to the negative ego. If you do not live in balance in your life, in other words, like the shakona or the hexagram, the balance between two opposing forces, and you're governed by the negative ego, you will experience a lot of negativity in your life. Aside from just experiencing negative emotions, negative mindsets, etc., that negativity you experience will draw forth more negativity. Why? Because it's a universal law.
Kind seeks kind.
Yes.
Now, regarding the negativity that you'll experience, it's around you, it's within you. Everything around you, within you, everything that you can possibly be involved in, everything that you attempt, everything will be rife with negativity. And again, kind seeks kind. It will build upon itself up to the point where you will essentially end up destroying yourself.
Yeah, basically you will live in a constant state of a crossed condition. A crossed condition is it's like a self-induced curse, basically, where you become like a magnet for negative energy, and this negative energy will affect your mental state, your emotional state, physical state. It can bring forth more illnesses, and so on and so forth. So yeah, as we've seen with this individual we mentioned prior, this is what's busy happening to this person.
Let us elaborate a little bit on it, using this individual as the perfect example for this. Now, we don't know how this person was before this. Yeah, we don't know this person personally, in short. So we cannot say how he was. But what we can evaluate is how this person has interacted with us, and no doubt with others, actually. Because how he interacted with us is how he no doubt will interact with everyone and everything else in his life. It's sort of simply alcohol, an excess of it, drunkenness, likely
substance abuse as well,
misery, likely anger, as you can see from the messages, paranoia,
blaming everything and everyone except for taking responsibility for themselves, thinking life owes them everything.
Taking it even further, with the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, we place warnings everywhere about that book, about how dangerous it is, and how it can destroy you, because it can, and it will. Yet seeing that, and having an interest in the left-handed paths, the darker currents, this person purchased that book. First things first, shocked, appalled, angry at us for writing such a work. Whatever, that's fine. You can be angry with us, it's fine. We don't really care of your opinion, to be honest. Yet, not so long after that, you quickly backpedal, change your tune up, and then contact us once again, this time feeling betrayed, that we are somehow betraying the path of Belial, by the way. Okay, again, this person, everything that we have written freely and in our books even, goes straight over their heads regarding spiritual development and ascension. Our path in the occult arts started with the left-hand path paradigms. You would not have found anyone more dedicated or devoted to those paths than we. We were so dark that, well, how should we put this? what is written in the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, that most notorious grimoire, that isn't even a drop of what we know of that current or that path. And we immersed ourselves in it. We became just that. Okay? But now this person thinks we are betraying that path. We were never truly on that path. We were on that path, but that wasn't the end goal for us.
Nor was it our magnum opus. Our magnum opus is the hexagrammaton, the path of spiritual ascension and godhood. That's our path.
Exactly. And again, note, once and for all, godhood, spiritual ascension, anything like that, that is not a right-handed concept.
No.
It is not.
We feel like we have to clarify something as well concerning right hand and left hand paths. There is no such thing as the right hand path or the left hand path. These concepts were created by Blavatsky in an attempt to probably nurture her own negative ego. Now, you see, there's no such thing as right hand or left hand because it is just one path. Because if we can compare this to Qi or Chi, it is complete in it by itself. The two parts of Qi, yin yang, is not opposing forces at all. It's just two parts of the whole. They're not opposition to each other. Quite the contrary. That is exactly the same as the left hand path and the right hand path. Now, why don't we practice the left hand path any longer, so to speak? We don't practice it. Only on behest of our clients do we practice the left hand path, certain aspects of it.
Also the right hand path.
Yeah, we'll get to that just now. Because we found the left hand path wanting, just as we found the right hand path wanting in it and by itself. Because those two paths, people under their perceptions separated them, when in fact they should never have been separated. You cannot separate something which cannot be separated in the first place. So trying to separate those two paths, dividing them, is delusional in the first place. Everything is balanced. Just as we mentioned, the hexagrammaton, Qi, Ki, or any other form of primordial energy forms. It's balanced and perfect in it and by itself. Now, that's also the key factor in not becoming overwhelmed by the negative ego, because you see, the negative ego is not only related to, for example, the left-hand path, the right-hand path as well, because you get people who practice a right-hand path that is so self-righteous, they probably believe they are immaculate. So you get that on that side as well. So both sides is equally to be blamed for this and practicing the individual path, right-hand path or left-hand path. Instead, they should be united. Become hexagram and then become God.
Also want to clarify another thing. If there's people watching this who doesn't want to actively seek out spiritual growth, ascension, things like that, whatever, that's fine. We are not in charge of you or your choices or your path or paradigm or whatever you choose. We cannot tell you what to do. We're not dictators, okay? However, because if our path differs from yours, say you are also so hardcore into the left-handed practices and you feel upset hearing us say certain things regarding right-hand path practices or ascension or anything like that. If that bothers you so much, why would it? For example, that blog post that individual commented on as well, about how you can never escape the path of Belial and all that. Yeah, we have so many things to say about this, but we won't. Note the post which he placed that on. It was a post regarding detachment, where we referenced the Heart Sutra from Buddhism, and where we also reference Corinthians from the Bible. And that sort of triggered this guy even further. like we betrayed him, like we're betraying ourselves, whatever. It's one of those situations. But did this whole situation annoy us? Of course it did.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And we have exchanged so many words amongst ourselves what we feel about the situation.
However, we will not give in to our negative ego under any circumstances.
As seen with a slew of messages that this guy sent us, in fact, in fear that we might do something to him, that shows how that reflects on him, not on us. We didn't threaten this, do this and this, buy this and this, or we will destroy you. No, we just said apologize, buy this and this time. That's all. You see, if we had to encounter this individual 5 years ago, 10 years ago, bet on it, he would have been destroyed already.
But now we actually pity this person very much.
Actually, we do.
Because we know where this road is going to take him. We know it's going to lead to destruction, utter destruction.
And why would we seek to destroy someone if, well, the person's clearly doing such a good job at destroying himself by his own actions and free will and choice?
Yeah, like we quote sometimes Radiohead when they say, you do this to yourself. And that's just how it works. You know, there's no one else to blame for this.
No. This guy, we know he's watching this, by the way. We know he is. You did this to yourself. We didn't do this to you. The book didn't do this to you.
It's the choices you made.
Bel-El didn't do this to you.
No.
You did this to you. And we can assure you, there's nothing which stings more than that.
You know, most people think that, or most people actually blame external sources for their own actions and their own misery, when in fact they are the orchestrators of their misery and even their demise.
We were there.
We were there once.
We did exactly the same thing sometimes. We would blame everything but ourselves and our own actions for whatever might have befallen us. So we know, we get it. But the point is to realize that, to recognize that, and to step out of that, by the way. You see, the funny thing about the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul is that if you're consumed by your own negative ego, that book will destroy, and that is why, that's the part of it will definitely kill you. Yeah, that is why it would.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you're a practitioner who wants to walk the path and learn from the path, etc. and so forth, then you will learn a lot from that path and from the book itself. But if you are suffering from any mental ailments or mental conditions or anything as such, we strongly suggest you do not even open that book. Definitely not. Or don't even practice any form of magic at all.
How many warnings haven't we given already? I mean, honestly, do you guys read sometimes? Read warnings on things? The warnings are there for a reason. That's not like a challenge to you.
No.
It's not a dare. It is a warning. All right?
If you want to walk that path, just do it responsibly. And if you want to follow what is written in the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, then just do so in accordance to our instructions. Because after all, we wrote the book. We would know. Because of the recent drama we've experienced with this individual in regard to the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, we've decided to increase the price of the book itself exponentially.
Because of this.
So you can thank this individual. His details is available. So, yeah.
Because honestly, you're not us. We get that. And you're probably gasping at how dare we want to make money off of this. No, this isn't actually about money, believe it or not.
No.
You see, in all of the years that we have practiced, or at least made our services available to the public, there's one thing that we have learned above all. The only time people pay attention to anything you say, anything you do, is if it costs them something.
Yeah, in one of our South African languages, Zulu, is a saying, Shaya tafula. That means if you pay for that.
So even though we have delivered warnings many times on multiple platforms about specifically the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul, you still get people like this guy and others, by the way, that think that is a personal dare or challenge. They buy it, then they're either shocked or appalled or whatever, angry, then they go into a spiral of self-destruction, which is inevitable for people like that. Yet then they draw us into the situation somehow. And yeah, sure, we wrote the book. We are selling the book, so we suppose you can say that we are responsible in a way. However, we're not forcing anyone to buy any of our books, including that one.
Yeah.
Everyone who does that out of their own free will and volition and choice. We are not forcing anyone. And because of this, because it's actually becoming rather taxing after all this time, still there's people like this. Still people think that for some reason they are not beholden onto their own actions. They have to learn in a different way. So now the warning is not just a warning label, but also a warning price. Now maybe the people who will purchase it will take it seriously because they had to pay for it.
You know, guys, there's something I want to tell you as well, seriously now. There are many paths which will give you what you require, such as spiritual ascension, spiritual growth, power, divinity, etc. and so forth. But we will speak about the books we wrote, the paths, so to speak, that we introduced within those books that we wrote. The Black Book of Bel-El-Hul is not the pinnacle of our writings, not in the least. If you want truly meaningful work, truly powerful work, then it's not the Black Book of Bel-El-Hul. Look at the Hexagrammaton, Liber Day, all the books on the Hexagrammaton series. Those are the greatest books we have ever written and the most powerful work we have ever written, hands down. So in regards to the negative ego, if you do not want it to be consumed by the negative ego, you need to find a system which will help you to live in balance. It's irrelevant if it's an ancient mystic system such as Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, it doesn't matter. You'll need to practice what they teach in there because that is truly sacred knowledge and these people know what they are talking about because they practice it and they live it. Same as us with the Hexagrammaton. We know what we are talking about because we practice and we live it. While most people go out clubbing and drinking with their buddies or going out on ladies' nights and all that nonsense, we practice the occult.
Yeah, that's literally all we do.
That's what we do. We don't go out drinking, clubbing, or any nonsense as such. We don't socialize with other people. This is our life, the occult. Our path is Hexagrammaton.
We have dedicated ourselves to this since we were basically teenagers. All right, so we know what we're talking about.
But you don't have to believe us. You know, we speak to those people who are willing to listen. If you have ears, listen. If you don't have ears, don't listen.
And if you
then, and carry the consequences of your actions then.
And if you're just here for the drama, so be it too.
Okay. So that concludes this video in regards to the negative ego and this perfect example we used of this individual.
So, we know we probably said this before, that we're going to try to make more videos and content and stuff. We know we said things like that before, all right? But this time, we will try.
Yes, we've been actually thinking about making it on a diary basis, maybe one post a week or something, perhaps. And a diary meaning that we will also speak about things we've experienced, how we think, in regards to certain things, and then also speaking about matters of the occult and hexagrammaton and things as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys will be interested, of course.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, etc. and so forth.
Or send us a message on our website, on social media. All the links are somewhere here at the bottom of the screen in a moment.
And we also like to thank all of those people who have supported us throughout the years. Namaste. Thank you very much. We appreciate it and we love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And always remember, as above, so below.
As within, so without.